Mahalo for this beautiful Aina, this beautiful day. Even if we're in this building, we're still in this Aina Hawai'i. We are so grateful to be able to be living in Hawaii. We ask your blessings upon all of our people today. We ask our kupuna kahiko, we ask our amakua to be with us and to help inspire us, that we learn from each other, and that we can carry these lessons out into the world and live them in our Hawaiian ways. Mahalo for bringing us together. Help us all to do good today. Mahalo. My name is Wahine Cipher, and I'm from the chair. I haven't been in a public chair for a long time. And I was born and raised in Kaneohe, and I have learned a lot of what I know from my kupuna tutu, and from many other good people in the world. I'm hoping that today is not a lecture. Today is a conversation. We're all going to huka, and we hope that we can learn as much from you folks as you might learn from us. We're going to show a short video, and the video purpose is really about how we can take a Hawaiian concept, or Hawaiian thinking, or Hawaiian values, and we can change our little part of the world. And we're hoping through this Starry session today, we all learn ways that we ourselves can change, be role models for our families, for our co-workers, for our community, and eventually for everybody else in the world. So I think, and maybe you'll see on the video, hopefully you'll agree that Hawaii has much to offer. I think that we are strong people, and I think we were meant to be strong. A lot of times we doubt ourselves, and I don't know if some of you were out there under the tent, but they taught some of the same lessons about believing in ourselves. And first of all, we have to believe in ourselves, connect with our na'auia, and from there we can help others to believe and understand. Because if we have the power of belief, we can make a lot of things change. So I'm Mahilani from Kaneohe, born and raised there. And I'd like to go around the circle. If you could just introduce yourself really quickly, your name and what ankua, if you know it, where you come from. Okay? And this is Kimia Piki from Ko'olapu Hawaiian Civic Club. She's also.
So aloha, my name is Kimia Piki. I'm born and raised in Kaipopa'u, which is the ahupua'a, what is now Ha'ula. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Caroline Koa. I live in Waimanalo. I've lived there for about 28 years, but I moved to Hawaii from Japan.
Aloha, good morning. I'm Akama Ha'olani. I'm from the ahupua'a Hakipu'u.
Mahalo, aloha. I am Arna Lahela Johnson. I am also from Hakipu'u. Good morning. I am Jennifer Bryan, and I am from Oahuhala.
Aloha, I'm Aida Hanohano. I live in Pukapu, Waimea, Hawaii.
Aloha, I'm Sherry Taylor from Kuleo'o.
Aloha, I'm Ke'opu Riz, born and raised in Kaneohe. I'm living in Manoana.
Aloha, my name is Emily. I'm born and raised.
Aloha, Kako. I'm Mary. I was born and raised around Oahu in Ko'olapu. My family was on Maui and Kauai, and I currently live in Houston.
Aloha, I'm Tidali. I'm from Maui and I'm currently living on Oahu first.
Aloha, my name is Kelsey. I'm also from Maui, and I'm currently living on Oahu first.
Aloha, my name is Kapepa and I am a Kailua.
Hello everybody, I'm Kupuna and I live in Pura.
Aloha, Opono, Kehau. I live in Lililari now, but I'm raised in Pukapu.
Aloha, I'm Anna. I was raised in Honolulu now, but I currently live in Pura.
Hello, I'm Michael. My name is Elizabeth. I was raised in Nashville, Tennessee, and my ahupua'a is Kalutu.
Aloha, I'm Moe Awal, born and raised in Maui and currently live in the area of Hawaii and
Aloha, I'm Summer Kelly Ipio from the area of Ko'olapu.
Aloha, I'm Maya and I'm raised in Aloha, I'm Leanne Kawaha. I was born and raised in Kapu and I live by the the valley of Papukulea, and I'm born and raised over here.
Aloha, I'm Bonnie.
Aloha, it's Stephanie. I was born and raised in Rochester, New York, and I currently live in Kaunakakai, Molokai.
Hello, my name is Wahine Kuhinapapa, born in Holualoa Kona, but living in Manoa.
Aloha, I am Nanasi and I live in Laie. Aloha mai kako, o Kakakalani Kia and no Wabanao mai au.
Aloha, I'm Kula. I live in Honolulu. Aloha, I'm Malia from Ho'oponopono.
Hello, my name is Sadie Boas, originally from the United States, now living in Wales.
Aloha, my name is Cynthia. I'm from San Diego and I moved to Hawaii 2 years ago. Lived in Palolo, Kailua, and currently in Kaneohe Resort.
My name is Nina. My home island is Montreal, Quebec. Not well known, but it is a volcanic island, and I have a feeling from my childhood that I belong here, and always was called to Mauna Kea. I live on one side of it, and my company is on the other side of the key.
Well, you're Hawaiian, yeah. Just say where you come from. Oh, mine off. The camera person?
Me?
Yeah. Yes. Mahalo, mahalo. Okay. And Auntie?
Kule Kaila from Honolulu.
Welcome to everyone. Okay, we're going to show a film now, and then please excuse some parts of it are corny because it's filmed with me talking, but the point I'm trying to make is that at the ending it talks about the transition into how we can help change the world through our efforts in our small way, because it all kind of like in a pool, you throw a rock in a pool and it spreads out. The same thing can happen with what we do in our behavior. Then we'll go into some of the other things on our agenda. We're going to pass it out while the film is running. Okay? Now get out of the way.
And welcome to Voices of Truth, one-on-one with Hawaii's Future, brought to you by the Kiwani Foundation. I'm Ahuke Kahu Cardwell, and here we are out today on the windward side of Oahu. We got a great guest, so let's go on over here and meet her. Mahealani. Aloha.
Aloha, mai.
Aloha. Welcome to Voices of Truth.
Welcome to Ko'olapoko.
Ko'olapoko. This is wonderful. Look on here. Look at, we have Chen in the background.
That's Mo'oli'i.
Locally. It's a wonderful day out here in Hawaii. And so let's walk this way. And you brought us here today to talk about something very interesting that's going on in Hawaii right now, yeah?
Well, it's starting here in Ko'olapoko. We're
starting right here.
Yeah, well, in the Ko'olapoko local district of the river side and the lower side. And in Ko'olapoko we are setting up boundary markers with signage right now. And these boundary markers are to identify where the traditional boundaries lie for our Ahupua'a here in the windward side. Ahupua'a are throughout the whole island. I think there's 1,100 Ahupua'a throughout the whole island.
But those divisions are called Ahupua'a.
Correct.
And then after Western contact and the Western ways came in, that got lost. And now it's being revived again.
It's never been lost. I think some people have forgotten it.
Gotcha.
And we're trying to reestablish where these boundaries are as best we can, using old maps and using natural features of the landscape, which Hawaiians might have used to also mark boundaries. What we had with the Ahupua'a system, which was very successful for many centuries, was the people in the Ahupua'a took care of their resources. That was their kuleana, take care of the haina, take care of the ocean resources, and take care of their people. So that worked very well, and our people thrived under the Ahupua'a system. So we think that by reinstituting that thinking about malama and taking care of your kuleana, we will be able to sustain our people for generations to come.
Wow. You know, Mahila, it sounds to me like an ahapua, because it's from the mountains to the ocean, is a complete cycle, yeah? Because you have all the resources right there.
The ideal ahapua had all the resources for the people in that ahapua to survive.
Yes.
To do their work, to make their food, to gather their food, and to do whatever they needed to do. So
wow.
They had to have some access to the ocean. You know, there are some ahapua that appear landlocked, so they were given land that had ocean and beach resources so that they could get sea life as part of their sustainability.
Wow. So you guys have come along and you said, we're going to put this thing back on the map, yeah?
Correct.
Wow. How long have you been doing this?
Well, we've been planning it for maybe 4 years or so, 4 or 5 years. We're able to get the state and the city to agree to putting in these signage markers when, and also later on stone markers, which were the traditional markers. So they agreed to the symbol. It's a new state standard for the ahapua signs. And our goal is to encourage these signs to be placed statewide.
So you said they're going to add stone markers, yeah?
Yeah, our hope is to build stone markers near the boundaries or in the boundaries wherever our signs will be located. And they will only be allowed where it's safe enough, because some of the roadside areas are too narrow, so we may not be able to put the markers everywhere. But we're going to mark them as many places as we can at the boundaries of the ahapua.
Wow. So this is going to be throughout Hawaii, yeah? All islands, huh?
Well, our project is only about Ko'olapokomoku, which is the district on Oahu,
where we are
the
right
southern
now.
end of the windward side.
Wow.
So I know that Wahine, the civic clubs out there are working to put signage out there as well, and they also have plans for stone ahu markers as well. Other clubs are starting to say, we would like to mark our ahupua too, so we're going to encourage all of Oahu to do that, and hopefully statewide, other communities will want the same. To connect the people with their ahupua and to help reintroduce, remind people, even the new people who have moved in, that it is the kuleana of the people living in the ahupua to take care to malama, that area. They don't have to take care of everybody else, they got to take care of their own backyard.
Yeah.
That's the ideal.
Sounds to me like something that's really going to catch on.
I hope so. You know, I mean, it caught on hundreds of years ago. We just want to bring it back so that it's working again for the people.
Right.
Our civic club started it, but we knew it had to involve the other civic clubs in Ko'olapoku, so we invited them to be part of the steering committee, so they were partners all the way, as well as the neighborhood boards. Neighborhood boards are elected by the communities within these ahupua, so we thought neighborhood boards were also important, because whether they're Hawaiian or not, kuleana is still there. They got to take care. Neighborhood boards generally care about their island, and so it was a natural fit. And so we worked very well with our neighborhood boards here in Ko'olapoku.
So it wasn't hard to get them to buy into the project?
No, it was not. It was interesting because what we did when we, one of the things we learned was that Maunalua was part of Ko'olapoku. It was a part of the Waimanalo Ahua, which was interesting because that's Hawai'i, a large area that used to be a fish pond. So we don't know why, but Maunalua is part of Ko'olapoku. So we went to the Hawaii Neighborhood Board and we said, welcome to Ko'olapoku. And they smiled and they were happy. I was interested. I thought they would want to stay with Kona, but they were happy to be part of Ko'olapoku.
Wow.
So the boundary for Ko'olapoku on the south end is at Kuleana.
Wow.
Waimanalo is a very large ahupua. When we went to the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board, you know, we asked them why is Maunalua part of Waimanalo ahupua? And the speculation was that the lands at Waimanalo were given to Queen Kalama by the king, and it's possible he gave her Maunalua because of the large fish pond, because there was no large fish pond in Waimanalo at the time.
You said earlier that the ahapua system had been forgotten about, yeah? Over time, through time.
It was forgotten by a lot of people. Some of the old communities still understand and remember. As I was growing up, you know, my tutu would tell me what ahupua we were in. Whenever we were going out and riding off the Windward Coast, she would describe each of the ahupua, you know, place by place. So that was how I learned about at least the Ko'olapoku ahupua. And I think there are other families that have the same kind of teaching, cultural teaching from their kupuna by revitalizing the interest and the support for the concept. You know, it's in the state general plans, it's in the county sustainability plans. So we are hoping that we can get government and the broader community to think Hawaiian.
So how did you guys know where the boundary markers were? It mostly was forgotten.
Where they should be placed?
Yeah.
Okay, we knew that they were placed usually according to ridge lines or streams. We took the last official map of the Kingdom of Oahu, Kingdom of Hawaii, 1876 map, and that map showed the Alcoa boundaries. And we felt that was the steering committee had to vote on this, and they decided to go with that map because it was the last official map recognized by the elite of Hawaii. And generally, it was the elite who, decided who got lands and what was where. And so that boundary was more traditional than later maps that are found inside Oahu and other materials.
So Mahilani, you know, what is the difference between what we have here in Hawaii now versus the Ahapua system?
Well, I think we have a disconnect and that can be corrected with not too much trouble, actually. We have communities that cares. They care about these islands, generally speaking. But they're so distracted with other things. They are not as connected to their aina as they could be. So we want to teach this model of stewardship from the youngest age to the kupuna age. We want to reinvigorate our people with that idea that Hawaiian cultural value of being a part of the holistic system of the Hawaiian culture. It was really we're all one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, one thing that strikes me as you're saying this is that back in the old days, pre-contact, there were about as many people live in Hawaii as there are today. Yeah.
That's some theories. Yeah.
And yet, no food was imported.
No food.
But today,
survived on it.
Most all food is imported.
We had no sewer lines, no electricity.
Right.
No water line, no waterways. Everything was through the streams, the ocean, and whatever we had.
They tried. So it sounds to me like with the reintroduction of the Ahapua system, maybe, just maybe, we could start to migrate back to a system where we don't have to import so much food. Yeah?
That's one of the things we're looking at, being more sustainable ourselves, providing more of our own food locally.
Yeah.
And so we're doing that here throughout the islands. There are groups that are working on reviving the taro fields and supporting diversified farming. There's a lot of concern about genetically engineered foods, so we want to make sure that the food is pono, so that the people are safe for generations to come. Yeah.
Great. So besides food, what other things might shift back like that under a Ahapua system?
Well, you know, we can use some of our alien vegetation for green waste, so it helps power electricity. We can use some of the vegetation like bamboo. We're trying to clean up Haiku Valley. There's a lot of bamboo in there. They're used for housing, supplies, to use as a kind of wood. So some of those things that might be opala can actually be made valuable to us as well.
Something that might be considered trash at first glance is
Correct.
actually very valuable.
And Hawaii has never wasted anything.
That's right.
They took everything
you can't.
and they had a use for everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you can't afford to. It's an island. Yeah. Wow. So are a lot of people excited about this?
Well, I know that the interest is growing, and we know it takes time. We're patient. We're going to help raise awareness wherever we can, 1% at a time. We're so grateful that the spirit of our Hawaiian people is living again and entering everyone's house, so that everyone supports this idea as well.
Why are you involved in this project?
Well, my kupuna of our family asked me to help work with other local families to restore the Hawaiian Civic Club, which had gone dormant for some time.
Really?
It was established in 1937. My tutu, Kane, Papa Cipher, was one of the founders of the Hawaiian Civic Club in 1937.
Wow.
So our kupuna in our family asked, can you guys go start it up again? So we did several years ago. And so as part of the reawakening of our interest in the Civic Club was the reawakening the interest of our community in the cultural treasures of our kola kukumu.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. That when you get one, the other one comes along with it. There's a link there.
Yeah. You know, and our kupuna are with us all the time, living and dead. They're with us all the time, guiding us and helping us to know what to do.
Wow. Sounds to me like it's probably impossible to do one without the other, yeah? Yeah. Wow. Great.
Well, if we pay attention, and this is, you know, some of us are so distracted with electronics that we forget or we don't hear, and there's so much out there that we can learn from. We just need to be patient and learn.
You know what? I'll tell you something right now, Mahela. You strike me as one of those people that pays close attention.
I can't help it. They're yelling in my spirit all the time.
Ah, very good.
We've gone from a handful of people to, you know, several hundred people now. So.
Really? Wow.
So, you know, in 1937, or in the late 30s or early 40s, the Hawai'i Civic Club had 3,000 members.
Okay.
But their membership was from Makapu all the way to Wahine Valley. So all the people who were, all the families used to belong to the club. So that goal is to bring us back to that strength. Now, our geographical area that we work with primarily is Kaneohe Bay. The Aupua from Kaneohe to Kualoa is the Aupua that we work with. There is the Kailua Hawaiian Civic Club that handles that Aupua, and the Waimanalo and the Maunalua Hawaiian Civic Clubs handle Waimanalo to Maunalua. So we respect that there are new clubs and they handle their kuleana, and we handle ours.
And so how many members you got in the club right now?
We have over 200 right now.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, we're one of the larger of the ones.
Very good, very good. Okay, so you restarted the club, you regrew the membership, growing the membership, and then all of a sudden you guys realized, wait a minute, there's more to this than that.
Oh, our club, every time somebody comes up with an idea of something they'd like to work on, we say, Maikai, go for it. And,
so all lights are green.
All lights are green.
Wow.
We do try to watch out for each other if anybody's getting into an area that they need help with or they need to be cautious about. We try to help each other. So there's a lot of cross-training and mentoring each other all along with the kupuna and the young people as well.
So is this Ahapua system project you guys are working on, is that like the largest one in the club?
Oh no, we have so many other projects we're working on. We have the He'io wetlands, which is 400 acres. We're trying to restore to kalo and other food crops. And we got a lease for 38 years from the HCDA to restore that land to productivity.
Wow.
We are trying to establish a cultural preserve in Haiku Valley, and we're trying to work with OHA and Hawaii Homelands to clear that valley of the alien stuff and restore that whole property to a good cultural area.
Wow.
Again, we have many other things we're working on, but yeah, we have lots of things going on. We're really an active club.
It sounds like you guys are busy people.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is that people in the club, wonderful, wonderful members. They work hard, but they have fun. You know, we tell them all the time, if it's not fun, then we don't want to do it. So every task we take on, we make it something that is enjoyable and fun. Because otherwise, we lose members. So members do what they want to do. They don't have to do everything. And that's what makes our club strong.
Wow. You know, Mahela, we have Voices of Truth viewers not only throughout Hawaii, but all over the world. Literally, our show airs all over the world. So there may be somebody watching this right now who's sitting there thinking, well, you know, what she's done is really great and I'm inspired, but I could never do something like that. What would you say to them?
You can find the boundaries of the Aupua where you live, and you can teach the people to manala their own Aupua wherever you live. Because Aupua is a word. I'm sure the Native Americans have a different word for the land boundaries where they live. In New York City, there are Aupua traditional boundaries that the natives that there once, observed. And you can do the same idea of stewardship and connection with your island anywhere in the world, anywhere. If they want training, they may come to Hawaii and let training.
So you don't have to be in Hawaii to discover your own Ahapua.
That's right. We should all know where we live and how we can care for the places that we live.
Wow. And what motivates you? What makes you get out of bed each day like this?
The fact that we have so much to do. We want to do a lot of this stuff before we die, right? So there's nowhere to go but up, and we want to lift up the Hawaiian people. I believe the Hawaiian people are put on this earth to teach the whole world about the Aloha spirit, about this idea of caring for the aina and the ocean and the people, aloha, each other and where we live. So I think that's our kuleana from Apua. And so that's what gets me up is that I think we got a lot more to do. We got to keep, and I'm like the official nag of our club. I'm not the president.
Oh boy, the secret is out.
But they're a good club, and I'm so proud and honored to be a part of them.
Wow, but you know, you're right. Hawaii really is the showcase for the entire planet. Because if we can get it right here, everybody can get it right anywhere, So that's both a huge opportunity, but also a very serious responsibility to get it right here.
You know, the Hawaiians had a kind of a legend, or I don't know, story of Olelo they shared. They said they believed that the Hawaiian Islands were the people of the whole universe.
The center.
And they actually knew where the center was. They actually described it. It was a place called Kanila'au Heiau, which was located sort of near the intersection of Alapai and Beartooth Street, downtown Honolulu.
Okay.
There was a big heiau there. The Battle of Nu'uanu actually started there with the first engagement, but that was where they said was the people of the entire universe. And I believe it. You know, in the middle of the ocean, that makes sense.
That's really interesting. Thousands and thousands of years ago, people who lived in Hawaii they had an awareness about not only themselves, but about the rest of the entire planet.
Well, they may not have known what was out there, but they knew with their own communication, with their akua, that this was the center.
But they knew they were making an impact.
Yeah, I guess so. They're led by their people as well.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
The Hawaiians are everywhere in the world. You know, everywhere.
Yeah.
So we are a global community, the Native Hawaiian people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I believe that wherever they are, they don't have to be here to teach and practice the culture. I'm sure they are practicing it wherever they are.
Right. So now
spread the aloha wherever you are.
The secret is out. We've infiltrated the planet, folks. It's too late to see.
And we welcome you all to join us in thinking Hawaii.
Yep, absolutely. But you know what? That's really the best news out there. Is that there are people out there all over the planet, circling the planet now, who really love and have a deep caring connection for the land, for the place. And you know, the mission, the role is to nurture it so not when the land thrives, the people thrive. And that message has been carried literally circling the globe. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that
wonderful? And you know what's also interesting? Wherever you go in the world, if you just mention the word Hawaii, it lifts people's hearts.
Yes.
It tells me that even in the word, it heals people's spirits. So I know we have a kuleana. We are missing the boat here if we're not doing what we can, wherever we are, to use our aloha spirit. That's the mana we have, which is in our koko, is to help other people. It's not about being selfish or grumbling about helping people.
Wow.
Whatever way we can.
Wow. Well, my request to you is keep on helping people. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Don't stop. And mahalo for being on the show today. It's great. Keep doing what you're doing. To our viewers, mahalo to you for joining us on this very special visit out here in this wonderful place in Hawaii. Remember, you can watch us on the web 24/7 on Voice.
Everybody's there on like trying to make a point. Hope you got some of it.
Oh, it was very good. Very good. I don't think it was awesome.
Yeah. Well, I can be quick. So Kimmy and I wanted to kind of talk about how we start influencing other people to think Hawaii. First of all, I think you'll agree with we have to believe in ourselves. We have to think Hawaii. We have to follow Hawaiian cultural values or whatever we can. So it starts with understanding what's in our na'au, where our mana is contained. I call the mana God force inside all things. Everything has mana. And if you connect with your mana and your na'au and The mana connects you to everything, your kupuna, your aumakua, akua. So what we believe in can make us stronger or weaker. And you had some points you wanted to make about that, yeah? Scientific studies back up this Hawaiian belief.
And I kind of wanted to start by to tell a little bit about Mahelani, who is definitely our organizer for our club and really motivates us to do so many things. So when she told me she was presenting, she had emailed me, and I said, my email literally said, let me know if you need help. I meant like carrying her boxes or something. And then we get the agenda, I'm like, oh, my name's on there. I guess I volunteered to do, help her with that. But I've been very privileged to do a lot of activities with Mahelani and with the Hawaiian Civic Club. One of the leadership development trainings we had attended a few months ago, something that resonated with me was about this, about thinking Hawaiian. And I kind of tried Googling it earlier today because it did have such an impact. But the speaker spoke about how we have these inner thoughts. And I know pretty much everyone can agree, you talk to yourself all the time throughout the day. Yeah. So they were, what the studies have shown, and these are studies done by UCLA and Stanford University, was that on average, a male speaks about 10,000 words a day. Women, we double that, 20 to 25,000 words spoken per day. However, the amount of thoughts that we have range, some studies are as low as 20,000, some are 50,000, some say 100,000 thoughts per day. And what do we do with that time, with those thoughts? A lot of it is real nonsense things. A lot of it is worrying about the past. Oh, I should have done this, or oh, if I had just done that better, or I wish I could go back. Other things are in fantasy land. You watch the news and somebody won $350 million. So what could I do with the $350 million if you won the lottery? So what we can do to, I guess, live this with the Hawaiian thought is to make sure that we're aware of what we're thinking about. Because a lot of that energy or a lot of those thoughts, the studies have shown, are negative. So if we can be aware of what we're thinking about and try to stop that, immediately, if we're daydreaming about something, okay, that's kind of nonsense. What is the task at hand, or what do we need to accomplish, or trying to be positive with our thoughts. So that was something that really resonated with me, and I've tried to do in my daily life when I start to daydream, go back to thinking positive and thinking about the good things in a situation, even though you might be put in situations that are negative. What are the good things that you can take from that and continue to have those positive thoughts, because your thoughts are what guides you throughout your day, and really you speak to yourself more than you speak to any other person. So make sure you try to incorporate positive thinking.
And you cannot be influential with others unless you're strong. So your thinking has to be positive and pono. Hopefully everybody knows what pono is. Anybody doesn't know what pono is? Actually, pono has many meanings. The one I like, the one I live by, is the balance. Besides being, righteous, however we define that, I always think of it as being in harmony with the universe, with the people I'm interacting with myself, with the environment. That pono is that balance. So when you say malama pono, which is my email address, is my eternal search to find balance in everything I do. So when there's a conflict, and I've been asked these questions before, what happens when the scientists and the practitioners have a conflict? How would you resolve it? So basically, you got to look for the balance. It can't be all one way or the other. So that's how you institute a Hawaiian cultural value into conflict situations, is to try to find what is the balance among all the information that you gather. So, but anyway, we also know that there are scientific studies that prove that the more positive thinking we have, that affects our health. If you're sick and you think that you're never going to get well, it'll take a longer time getting well. If you're positive about, I want to get out of this bed, I want to go, walking, doing other things, that tends to help people get better faster. Now that may not be true with the more serious kind of illnesses, but we have been known, the Hawaiians have been known to cure cancer, so that it can help it happen in the future. You need to think yes, we have that cure. We need to find the types of elements in our environment that help cure cancer, because some of our young people are going to find it one day, you know, and it'll be there to help our people because they did it before. Also, how we project to other people. You know, what we send out, our signals, they pick it up. So sometimes it's just a speculation, maybe we're paranoid about what the other person is thinking or doing. They pick it up and it becomes a reality, even if it wasn't going to happen in the first place. I think it's good to kind of always be cautious in how we react to other people. I catch myself all the time because I want to react. I have to stop that because I got to look for balance and try to be respectful of other people and practice the values. So we wanted to ask you folks to talk, whoever wants to, you know, about Hawaiian core values. On the back we have a bunch of values that, you know, we collected, but I know there are many more, but these are just some. And we wanted to ask you folks to discuss which ones you think have the greatest potential to help us in influencing others, whether it's personal life or in the broader community. You guys, anybody want to start?
Yeah, I think for myself, I know that mahalo is a big one. I think we all should be in gratitude, because even though you're challenged with some really negative, heavy stuff, when you go back to that place of being in gratitude for the health of your children, that you can even breathe, that you have a place to live, it really brings you back to center, again, to being balanced, that you really do have everything that you need. And that, for me, has helped me in so many situations, and that's how I live my life every single day, is being in gratitude.
Okay. What else in the circle?
Yeah. I think that ha'a is super important as well, because I think that ha'a, you take yourself out of the picture and you address your environment, your surroundings with compassion, and that you're able to step back and appreciate everything that's around you and see the value in someone else's perspective. Yeah. Not your perspective has to be right all the time. So I think ha'a is super important.
That's good. That's another thing that helps us be influential with other people. If we don't come on too strong and pushy, people tend to listen there. Yeah. Any other thoughts? Don't be quiet, don't be shy. Yes.
I have one. Hawaii has really affected my life, and I grew up in the Western perspective from my indigenous mother, from the Native American side. Her people had lost their whole tribe to, you know, everybody, nothing but the Oahu left. And so coming here, I feel I have maybe the DNA to understand, but none of the childhood teachings. And I think what's most important for me as a Western person to learn and to carry forward is the value of kuleana. Because unless in one's affairs in the world, if you do not carry the personal responsibility for your conduct and your actions, the personal responsibility for your choice of the attitude of gratitude, the personal responsibility for seeing yourself as part of the universe and not, you know, the big marionette, it's the only thing that can, I think, act as a counterbalance to the price system. Because the price system is how, you know, everything in the world is allocated. It's all, you know, everything is for sale. And for me, it starts, my kuleana is to say the most priceless things are not for sale, and it's for me to stand up for that. And I think that is for me, the one word that branches out to everything else on here. And
okay, so any others? So I have, yeah, right here.
Well, I have a few. Can I?
Go for it. Go for it.
Okay, the one I like is ho'omomofo, kako, and kako'o. It's I'll start with the kako first. It's all of us together, because I know you know, the Hawaiian culture, especially the Hawaiian people, we're not as close as we should be. We're not as tight as we should be, and our culture isn't as strong. But if we're all together and helping one another, were forced to do the English, the poe wanted them to do, and that's not pono. But now it's really important that we fulfill our culture and our heritage and remember what they went through and to appreciate our culture. And then kako'o. Our culture definitely needs a lot of kako'o and support from everyone. Even if you have ko'o Hawai'i or not, everyone help one another.
Yeah, I really like ma'e because what means cleanliness, and at home, we always gotta do chores and clean bathroom and all this kind of stuff. So I'm just so used to like the idea of cleanliness. But not only that, it teaches me it's a lifestyle too. It's not only your house, it's how you live, how you take care of your environment and all this kind of stuff. And I also feel like it's not only a physical thing, but it's also a spiritual thing, a cleanliness. And that also relates to kalana, which is to release or forgive. Because then when you do that, you're kind of cleansing yourself of all of that, that bad, negative vibes. And to me, that just really is important to me. And that's what my parents and my siblings have always just been trying to teach me. So that's
Any others? Yes, back there.
I would say ho'ona'au'au to educate, na'au'au, but I think that's why we're all here, is to educate ourselves. That's why I'm in this class. And it starts with us to educate ourselves in Wahine, to take back to our families to educate. And I think it also stems, not just starting with the moko, it starts with the keiki. And it's important for us. I realize our culture was dealt a huge bash. I mean, I understand you say you weren't raised with Hawaiian values. I'm Hawaiian. I was raised here, and I wasn't taught Hawaiian values either. My nana was told it was shameful to be Hawaiian. She was never taught the language, never taught la'au, lomi, none of those things. And to be here surrounded by women who were, I'm so happy that people were radical enough to say, no, we're going to be pono, we're going to stick to what our kuleana is. And so, as a woman with two keiki, that's how I started getting the ball rolling again, is to start with them, because they need to know. And if you raise your keiki pono, we've got a chance.
Okay, and somebody else have a hand on this side. Yes.
I think of Ho'omanawanui as uniquely Hawaiian. And I was raised with Ho'omanawanui meaning actually to make enough time, which is to me different than patience. Because patience happens when you haven't planned well, or things aren't really going your way. But as this is a Wahine, conference, I think it's okay for me to say things like, in terms of genders, I think we're probably the one that's better, a little bit better at the planning portion. And I think that's where we bring in our unique strengths to our people as a whole. But also, in terms of giving yourself the time to hear your ancestors and not necessarily speaking until you're sure you have the right answer. And so that requires a lot of ho'omanawanui and a lot of patience as well. Because sometimes, especially in professional settings, we want things to move, we want things to go. But we have to be able to say to our friends who we work with that now is not the right time to make a decision on this. I'm waiting for the universe to come together and to give me the right signs so that I know that we're making the right decision or to change. And I think that is uniquely Hawaiian. We wait to see what our ancestors are showing us, and we listen and we pay attention. And I think that is uniquely Hawaiian. I think that's how we can help other people to live here in Hawaii.
I think for me, love, aloha, because everything that's on this list, I think, begins with aloha. If you aloha your ohana, you take responsibility. You are ma'e. If you aloha hae, if you aloha your kino, you have kuleana. You always malama everything that you love, everyone you love. And I think as Hawaiians, we're so diverse now. Our families are so diverse. We are unable to, it's becoming more difficult to put us in a box because our communities are so diverse. We're diverse as a people. We have wide range of educational status, economic status, health status. Our young people are being educated and growing up to be fine men and women in our community. I think the pain of our past has really helped to strengthen us as a people. And so I feel that our culture is very strong. And I see it in our opio, I see it in our keiki, I see it in our kupuina, that our pain in the broken places is where we can receive the blessings from Akua and where we can strengthen. And we don't forget, we don't, let those things go, but I think because we aloha ourselves, we aloha our family, our communities, the future generations, we are, I think as a people we're moving forward in very positive ways. So I think aloha is just, to me, just the greatest thing.
And it's a universal word, yeah. Everybody,
yeah.
Anybody else? You haven't?
I was looking at the list, and my last name is Hanahano. And so when I saw that, I went, oh my God.
You're a value.
I mean, I like it because, for us to be honorable to ourselves, to each other, even to the aina, and so it just kind of, I don't want it to be a burden. I want it to be something that I can really live up to. Yeah. So, and I learned this in the other Hawaiian values class. There was hano hano too. Whoa. So that's my share. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Olu Olu. I have two on the list that touch my heart the most. The first is Olu Olu. The second is Viva Ole. And they sort of go hand in hand. As a Hawaiian woman, oh, she's so nice. The nice thing about being really pleasant and being really comfortable in your skin is that you invite intimacy. When you invite intimacy, you are taking a very courageous step to engaging with people from all walks of life. If your heart is strong and open, you will engage that other person. They'll feel comfortable with you. They'll feel pleasant with you. And that's really how we want to walk the earth. Being comfortable with each other, being pleasant with each other, being courageous to share who we are as Wahine, and not afraid of where we come from. So those are my two words.
Any other thoughts?
I have one.
Yes, go ahead.
I like ho'ohanohano to honor. So for me, I think I try to think about it daily, like what motivates me in the simple life decisions, as well as the big life decisions. So for me, I'm very fortunate to have a job and a career that I get to teach the young people. And I guess trying to tie it back to the ahupua'a as well is that I think for these younger generations, it's very important for them to connect back to the land, to where they're from, because we are not losing, but I guess forgetting where we come from. So, growing up, we surf, the different surf spots, we go to these different hangouts, and then we start to change the names of these places. And then you lose the value of why they were named that. So, growing up in the North Shore, we have Sunset, Pipeline, Backdoor, all these names, but there's traditional names of these areas that they were given that name for a reason. So I try to incorporate honoring my culture and my ancestors in my daily life, but also in the work that I do. So professionally, I think when you are lucky enough to I guess, have those two meet up, it's like, for me, work is not work. I'm excited every Monday, whereas everybody's like, Monday. But so these are just the things that if you, or for me, when I incorporate these things, it's things line up. Things eventually will come together.
Good point. Okay, well, I did the same thing at my job when I used to work for the Board of Water Supply. When I was able to, I got them to have a song written, Malama Ikawai, because before that it was pure water, man's greatest need. I said, well, we need something that's more, go deeper into the islands, and so we got Jerry Santos to write that song, which still today, people love that song. It reminds us in our very deepest now that our kuleana is also Ma'awai. It's a Hawaiian value. So when you teach your kids to turn off the tap and stuff in your house, you're actually teaching them a Hawaiian value. Not to waste. So it happens in everywhere we go and everything we do. And I think that hopefully you take back with you the reminder that we are the role models in our family, in our work group, in our community. So whatever way we can. For me, it's a lifelong journey toward the pono, practicing all these values. We have to try to incorporate all these values because they all are ways in which we can get the world to be better. And it starts with us. Don't start with the guy on TV running for office. It's a grassroots. It's a, I belong to the civic clubs, and one of the big challenges in the clubs is that association wants all the clubs to serve the association. And I say, no, we got to take care of the grassroots. The association got to take care of the grassroots, not the other way around. So it really starts with us in our own neighborhood, in our community, so in our family. So I hope that you guys will think about that as you go on. And I want to ask you, one more thing about the boundary marker thing. It's gone island-wide now. Oahu Council has adopted a project to complete that moku, that boundary marker project. We're meeting tomorrow in the Eva moku. If any of you from Eva, I don't remember anybody was from Eva. So we're working on theirs. The Kona moku last meeting is next week Saturday. If any of you are in the Kona moku, that's from Kuleo'o to Moanalua. They're going to be talking about their sites, their locations of their boundaries next week Saturday. So then Wailua moku is the end of September. So if any of you want to participate in that, that's exciting. I understand Maui is going to pursue the same thing, and Big Island is also pursuing boundary markers there. We haven't heard from Kauai yet. So, but the idea, and I get this all the time from the windward signs that are already up, people are really excited about taking back the names of their places. Yeah. Even the non-Hawaiians say, oh, I'm so happy I know where I live now. The idea was we wanted people to know where they live, because you ask them where they come from. Oh, Kaneohe. Oh no, you're in part of Waihe, or you're in Heia, or you're in, you're in Ka'alaya. And there's so many great mo'olelo that goes with these apua's. So part of the project was to kind of teach people the stories too. So
I was confused when I was in Hawai'i and I saw Ahupua watersheds.
That's what I heard of an Ahupua at the time. But one of the concepts that the Ahupua can take forward into the world is that the local sustainability includes the what's the word, the cleansing. What's the word? Yes, and how you dispose of your waste and effluent is something that back in the day, the Native Hawaiians reused everything, recycled and reused, and it was the Ahupua was a system where there wasn't like a container of stuff that was then dumped somewhere else. And I think if we brought back that thinking that what is within the natural boundaries of our ecosystem, if we can relate to that and take care of that, because it is in a way like a closed system. There's no place where you can have a waste dump because it's right in the middle of everyone's yard. And I think that's one of the most valuable contributions that is a good kind of thinking. Yeah. Because there's no place to dump your crap.
Well, then they gotta let us burn rubbish in the backyard again.
Thank you. Thank you.
We have to have a conversation with the fire department and get them in on this thing. Yes.
It's 11:30, but I also wanted to remind you the brochures.
Oh yeah, we have some brochures that if you want to take samples of the brochures from the Ko'olapoko project, we brought some with us so you can take them. And some of the stories about the development are pretty cool. Okay, well, thank you all.